Hey guys, it's Moen on here. It has been a minute since I recorded a video, and I have some catching up to do with some Kanye stuff and other things. One thing I find interesting is Scott Disick, who is the father of Kourtney Kardashian's children, um had his bar mitzvah this weekend. And I was curious if Kanye was invited, but overall things have been pretty quiet with him. But a couple things I do want to cover, but this is fresh news. Couple things are fresh news. Not that fresh now, happened yesterday, but Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of rape in a Los Angeles trial. After a month-long trial and 9 days of deliberations, LA jurors on Monday found Weinstein guilty of the rape and sexual assault of just one of the four accusers he was charged with of abusing. But the three guilty counts involving an Italian actor and model known as at the trial as Jane Doe number one still stuck a major blow against the disgraced movie mogul and provided another Me Too moment of reckoning. Weinstein 70, who is 2 years into a 23-year sentence for the New York case that is under appeal, could get up to 24 years in prison. In California, when he's sentenced, he was found guilty of rape, forced oral copulation with another sexual misconduct count involving the woman who said he appeared uninvited at her hotel room during an LA film festival. Harvey Weinstein forever destroyed a part of me that night in 2013. The jury was unable to reach a decision on counts involving two accusers, notably essay charges involving Jennifer Seibel Newson, a documentary filmmaker, and the wife of California Governor Newsom. A mistrial was declared on those parts. Weinstein looked down at the table and appeared to put his face in his hands when the initial guilty counts were read. Weinstein is interesting to me because he was the golden boy in Hollywood until all of this went down. And now there's nobody that stands with him. We have videos of Oprah Winfrey, like sucking his earlobe. Everybody from uh, you know, just everybody worked with him through the years. Gwyneth Paltrow, uh Jennifer Lawrence, a ton of actresses worked with him through the years, and he did have a lot of very successful movies. And by all accounts, he kind of had two sides. He had a very charismatic side to him, and then he had a very kind of monstrous side to him. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but it was the defense that made Me Too an issue during the trial, however, emphasizing that none of the four women went to authorities until after the movement made Weinstein a target. If you remember correctly, the guy that broke this story, it's been credited to several different people, but Ronan Farrow did a lot of the work on it, and he was being followed by Black Q, which is like an Israeli intelligence service. So his life was essentially in danger. This guy was a very high-powered man at the time. Weinstein beat four other felony charges before the trial even ended when prosecutors said a woman he was charged with raping twice and sexually assaulting twice would not appear to testify. They declined to give a reason. His latest conviction hands a victory of victims to sexual misconduct of famous men in the wake of the legal setbacks. Now we're forgetting all of the people that came out during that time, different times that got accused, from like Matt Lauer, Charlie Rose, Kevin Spacey. There were a bunch of people that were going down during that time. And here's another. I know when I post Instagram, you can't see it all that well, but I do. Damn it. I do want to bring up another breaking news story that's going on out there very quickly. And it's already been all over the news, so you probably heard about it, but if you haven't, Amber Heard has settled with Johnny Depp for $1 million. And I'm going to just read her statement really quickly. Of course, always making herself the victim. Now, what's going on is kind of weird because Johnny was actually awarded 12 million and she was awarded, or I think he was awarded 10 million actually. She was awarded 2 million, so that would have given him a net win of 8 million. And then it was it was all going to go to appeal. So basically it would have went through the whole thing all over again. Johnny forfeited all that money and is going to donate it to charity just to be done with the whole thing because he just wants it over with. That's a lot of money to give up, but it shows you how much he just wants to be rid of her. Okay, so here's her statement. After a great deal of deliberation, I have made a very difficult decision to settle the defamation case brought against me by my ex-husband in Virginia. It's important for me to say that I never chose this. I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed. She never expected this to happen. She thought that she was going to come out the victim and win this and destroy Johnny, and it totally backfired in her face. I want you to remember this as I read this. The vilification I have faced on social media is an amplified version of the ways in which women are re-victimized when they come forward. Now I finally have an opportunity to emancipate myself from something I attempted to leave over 6 years ago on terms I can agree to. I have made no admission. This is not an act of concession. There are no restrictions or gags with respect to my voice moving forward. What does that mean? Likely, she's going to write a book about it. I made this decision having lost faith in the American legal system where my unprotected testimony served as entertainment and social fodder. When I stood before a judge in the UK, I was vindicated by a robust, impartial, and fair system where I was protected from having to give the worst moments of my testimony in front of the world's media. And when the court found I was subjected to domestic and SV, she was not part of that trial in the UK. She was just a witness. So it's a completely different set of circumstances. In the US, however, I exhausted all of my resources in advance of and during a trial in which I was subjected to a courtroom in which abundant direct evidence that corroborated my testimony was excluded, and in which popularity and power mattered more than reason and due process. That's not true. The jury has said themselves they did not believe her story, that she went from bawling her eyes out to from one, in one breath to talking normally, and just they didn't find her story believable. In the interim, I was exposed to a type of humiliation that I simply cannot relive. Even if my US appeal is successful, the best outcome would be a retrial where a new jury would have to consider the evidence again. I simply cannot go through that for a third time. Let's not forget that the insurance companies that are covering her during these trials are giving her a hard time. Some of them are refusing to pay based on the fact that she was not accepting help from certain lawyers that they were recommended and things like that. Time is precious, and I want to spend this time productively and purposely. For too many years, I have been caged in an arduous and expensive legal process, which has shown itself unable to protect me and my right to free speech. I cannot afford to risk an impossible bill, one that is just not financial, but also psychological, physical, and emotional. Women shouldn't have to face abuse or bankruptcy for speaking her truth, but unfortunately, it is not uncommon. Once again, her insurance was covering the cost of the attorneys. In settling this case, I am also choosing the freedom to dedicate my time to the work that helped me deal after my divorce, work that exists in a realm which I feel seen, heard, and believed, and which I know I can affect change. I don't think she's going to be getting much work. Her reputation is tarnished. She's getting older. Her looks are fading. She's in her mid 30s. That is above the age of getting roles. I was looking at pictures of her, you know, even 8 years ago yesterday, and she was absolutely breathtaking. There's no doubt about that. She's a beautiful woman. Those looks, however, are fading very quickly. She's gained weight. I will not be threatened, disheartened, or dissuaded by what happened from speaking the truth. No one can and no one will take that from me. My voice forever remains the most valued asset I have. There's also speculations that sugar daddies that were supporting her, i.e., potentially Elon Musk, have stopped that support, and she just doesn't have any other outlets. I'd like to thank my outstanding athlete and original teams for their relentless hard work. I want to thank everyone who had supported me, and I turn my attention to the growing support that I felt and seen publicly in the months since trial and the efforts that have been made to show solidarity with my story. Any survivor knows that the ability to tell their story often feels like the only relief, and I cannot find enough words to tell you the hope your belief in me inspires, not just for me, but for all of you. Thank you. See you soon. She doesn't have a whole lot of supporters. Johnny Depp has a lot of supporters, but I'm just going to scroll down here and show you, like, this is kind of what she's looking like. This is from January. But I wanted to get to some pictures from like 10 years ago when she really looked good. I guess she hasn't looked good in quite a while because this is her kind of with no makeup on. She is a naturally pretty girl. She has had some plastic surgery work done. She does look good in these photos here. This is, this is when she was on top of the world, the 21st, before the trial. Interesting. People have thought that in this picture, she kind of pushes the other girls out of the way. You can't see it. It gets cut off. So just different pictures of her through the years. There's none of the really good pictures. I noticed that she does have this red signet ring on. For those of us who have gone into this red signet ring and the people that wear them, I found it interesting that she is wearing the ring. But very quickly, if I can find it, I'm gonna pause this for one moment. And I want to find a video that I also found very odd.